so many movies that are out right now and things I've had to get caught up on, so I decided to combine kind of 6 movies into one movie review. So let's start off with our first movie we're going to review today, which is Happy Gilmore 2. As someone who loves the original Happy Gilmore film, when they announced there was a Happy Gilmore 2 coming out, my reaction was, why?
Why?
Why are we doing a sequel? We don't need it. And I ended up being completely right. And I wanted to give this movie so much benefit of the doubt. Like, they were trying to make a funny movie and they had a good cast and crew and stuff like that, but it just didn't come together in the end. There were just a couple of major decisions with this film, with the script, with the story, with, you know, a couple of its characters, how they kind of handled Happy and where he's at in his life, and then just some of the jokes that they had. Like, yes, a couple of them I laughed at, but so many times in this movie, the jokes were just rehashed from the original, and literally they would do like a flashback to the original Happy Gilmore movie, like the scene what's supposed to be funny, whatever it is, and then they kind of do like their modern joke of what was told in the original Happy Gilmore film. It's just a really bizarre way to tell jokes and to have a comedy movie being told. Some of the golf scenes, like the CGI and stuff, was terrible. Like, they pulled off the golf scenes much better in the original movie. I thought that the humor and the charm and the magic in a bottle that the original had, they just couldn't capture that again with this sequel. But I felt like for this movie, they just took some strange choices, some really weird decisions in the filmmaking, especially in the script, the story, and how, you know, this movie comes about, that I just left a bad taste in my mouth. I just couldn't really get behind this movie. So ultimately, I'm going to go ahead and give Happy Gilmore 2 a C-. The next film on this list for today is I Know What You Did Last Summer. I like the original. I'm not like in love with it. Some people say it's like some of their favorite like slasher movies and slasher moments, and I just always thought it was like subpar, fun, entertaining.
It's a quest for fun. I'm gonna have fun, and you're gonna have fun.
Going into this movie, I had low expectations. So actually, when the movie ended, I was like, actually not bad. Like, it's not great or anything. I'm not giving this movie awards or anything like that, but for what it is, this action movie didn't do too bad of a job. Of course, there are some cool deaths. There's some boring deaths as well. So, like, the kill count is a little uneven at times in this movie for, like, how exciting the death scenes are. The actors are decent in this movie. I don't think I can say anything more than that. I like having Jennifer Love Hewitt and Freddie Prinze Jr. back in the mix of things. And actually, what they do with the original film and the legacy it left behind, they integrated it into this story and this script, and I thought did it in a great way. Like, I was really happy that they acknowledged the original and actually built it into the story of this film. But also, this movie's really stupid. There's some really terrible decisions that these characters make that just, it's hard to watch at times. It was a little painful.
This is like having a pine cone shoved in my ass.
And there were some horrible plot decisions, like in the script itself. I don't know if the twists at the end of the film, the last third act of the movie, I don't know if it necessarily felt earned and felt righteous, kind of when everything is, being unraveled. And this movie is definitely a whodunit. Like, it just didn't quite have the payoff that you want when it comes to a whodunit thriller like this kind of movie is trying to be. But you know what? If you like the original and you enjoy horror flicks, go check this out. So I'm gonna go ahead and give I Know What You Did Last Summer 2025 a C+. The next film on this list is Elio, the animated Pixar film that came out back at the beginning of June, and I just haven't had a chance to review it. As a Pixar animated film, that's an original idea. It's not bad. I had a pretty good time with this movie. I think this is definitely geared towards younger kids while still exploring some really big ideas. And that's another thing I liked about this movie was the world building and the characters and just like the actual development of our lead character. and a really cool premise for a movie, at the same time it being sort of kid-friendly. And there are some like horror-esque things in this movie. Like, I'm not saying it's a horror movie or anything, but there's some body horror things in this film that could be a segue for kids to like get into the horror genre, which I thought was really cool. But at the same time, as much as I had fun with this movie, the story itself and like how we get to plot point A, B, C was kind of weak. And the movie definitely jumps all over the place. And it mixes up the genres, but never quite pulls any of them off that strong. So the movie is definitely uneven. There's some character things that are quite baffling in this movie, especially with the aunt. But also, I have to say, this movie is kind of forgetful. You know, they were kind of like hitting doubles, maybe a couple of triples here and there, but they never fully rounded all the way to home base in any of those areas. So yeah, it's a fun movie. I would give it like a weak recommend. So overall, I'm gonna go ahead and give Elio a B-. The next film on this list today is Dangerous Animals. This Australian-based film about a serial killer on a boat feeding people to sharks. And that is kind of the simple premise, but the way that the story is told, how things are revealed, the character development, the actual horror gore scenes, the use of like sharks in a movie in a different and fun new way, I think all of that made up an entertaining horror flick. The last time that I saw a really good shark movie like this was probably The Shallows. And then before that, to me, it's like maybe Deep Blue Sea and Jaws. Like, there's only a handful of decent shark movies, and to me, this is now one of them.
Well, Lottie frickin' da!
And I'm so shocked at saying that, but I really loved the way that they explored the predators of sharks in this film, and with the antagonist in this movie played hilariously and scarily creepily by Jai Courtney. I thought he was fantastic in this movie. And actually, the main girl too, the directing was great. The scares were pretty impactful. If you're a horror fan, this is a movie that I could see you really enjoying. But is this like a masterpiece of horror or anything like that? Absolutely not. It's not trying to be, but I thought it was just a really cool, inventive new way to see like sharks in a horror film. So I'm gonna go ahead and give Dangerous Animals a B. The next film on this list is The Naked Gun. Wow, are spoof farce comedies making a comeback? Let's hope so. If they're made like this, I'm all for them.
I'm in.
This movie was so funny. I had such a blast in the theater, and with a huge crowd, everyone laughing and chuckling and, you know, screaming in certain moments when it was appropriate. It was great. It was an awesome theater experience. It felt like a return to like 2003, 4, 5, 6, you know, 2007, like in the theaters, watching Superbad, watching Forgetting Sarah Marshall, watching Anchorman. It was kind of like that again, and we need to keep making comedies like this. I would love there to be more movies, more big studio comedies that just go for it, balls to the wall, as they say. I thought the actors were great. Liam Neeson was kind of spot on perfect as Frank, and, you know, channeling essence of Leslie Nielsen, but not copying him, like doing something totally different, yet honoring the legacy that Leslie Nielsen left for the Naked Gun franchise. Pamela Anderson is awesome in this too. I never thought she'd be such a great comedic actress, but she's funny as hell in this movie. Paul Walter Hauser is so good in this film and absolutely hilarious too. Like, the cast is great. The comedy and jokes are just like a mile a minute. Every 30 seconds to a minute, there's a joke flying at you. And I would say every like 5 to 6 minutes, I was out loud laughing like my ass off, like having a really good chuckle. So the comedy ratio is fantastic in this movie. It's only like an hour and 25 minutes, so it just flies by. There's some great comedic gags in this movie. Things that, you know, we've seen in the past, and they repeat a few jokes from other movies and stuff like that, but also a few new things that I thought were so creative and so smart. I felt like the action takes over the movie at certain parts, and it's a little bit more action focused than like spoof comedy focused. But once I felt like people were getting used to the comedy and the wackiness of this world, people started to relax a little bit more and laugh at it. But yeah, it took some time to get into this movie. Probably a section about 10 to 15 minutes, kind of in the middle of the film in Act 2, that just lags a little bit and it slows the movie down, but then the movie picks back up again. But there's definitely a little bit of a lag. But besides those little nitpicky things, I thought this was a very solid comedy. I would definitely go watch this again. This is a movie that is made to see in the theater, so I highly recommend you check it out with a crowd. So I'm going to go ahead and give The Naked Gun 2025 a B+. And the last film on this list for 6 films deep today is Eddington. Now, I'm a big fan of Ari Aster. I really loved Hereditary. I really enjoyed Midsommar, but I did not like Beau is Afraid at all. In fact, I thought it was a letdown. So I was hoping that he was going to return back to some of the things that I really like about Ari Aster with Eddington, and he definitely did. I thought this film is insane. It's absolutely crazy. It's such an interesting, dynamic look at, like, you know, post 2020, you know, politics, social politics, commentary on community, a commentary on extremism on both sides of the scale in the United States. It's a commentary on, like, mental health and relationships, and it's got a lot of ideas in this movie. Most of them are pretty good. Sometimes it feels a little bit bloated and overdone, but man, oh man, does Ari Aster and crew really go for it in this flick. This movie's interesting because I would say the first half of this movie is sort of this, like, political commentary, dark, comedic, suspicious of your neighbor kind of film. And then the second half of this movie, the other half, is this very darkly comedic, but terrifying, suspenseful, detective cat and mouse, extremist, survival film. And it's such an interesting take how Ari Aster paces this film. While, yes, this movie is about 2.5 hours in length, it's a little bit long, it's a little bit long in the tooth at certain times. There's so much going on in this movie that 2.5 hours almost doesn't seem like enough, even though it is. And like I said, I am saying it was a little bit too long, but at times there's just a lot going on. There's a lot of characters. At the center of this movie is a great Joaquin Phoenix performance. Pedro Pascal is awesome. Emma Stone is great. Austin Butler, even though he's in it for like 10-15 minutes, he is amazing as well. Like, the cast is just bomb in this film.
Bomb, 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 bomb.
There are so many great, shocking moments in this movie and tonal shifts that was bizarre, but I loved it. Like, he got away with it in this film. Is definitely very distinctively Ari Aster's voice and his vision coming to life. There is a action sequence in this film, more in like the second half of the movie, that I thought was amazing. Like, Ari Aster, do an action movie, like do like a Sicario, because that's what it kind of felt like a comedic, dark Sicario action sequence. And Ari Aster killed it. Like, I thought he was great. I loved that scene. So if he can do more of that in this film, in other movies, I'll buy a ticket any day of the week. There's some, like, plot issues, like getting from point A to B to C to D to the end of the film. It definitely takes a windy path. It switches gears multiple times throughout the film in some ways that are great, and a couple of times that I don't know if that's the direction I was looking forward to. Editing and the pacing, it's a little slow at times. Kind of keep this movie from getting to that, like, all-time amazing status. But I did really enjoy Eddington. I think if people like Ari Aster and like a suspense thriller, kind of modern Western, political, social commentary film, definitely check out Eddington. It is worth it. Even if this isn't your cuppa, as I like to say, I think you'll still take something from it. So I'm going to go ahead and give Eddington an A-. Thank you so much for checking out Mr. Teach Film Preach. If you like this video, make sure you click that like button and subscribe to my channel for more content. Also, comment down below, what did you think of these 6 films? Do you agree with my rankings? Which of these 6 films were your favorite? Come back and check out some other movie reviews such as The Fantastic Four: First Steps, Superman, and F1 the movie. Thank you for checking out 6 Films Deep. Have a great day, everyone, and we'll see you on the next film.